Hello, I'm Kym Zest, and this here is Pigeon. Welcome. I thank you for joining me, the three of you who've tuned in. If you've joined early and are foam rolling, feel free to continue to do so during this intro. You might also use this time to finish setting up. You might play music in your own home. I will not be playing music on my end of the camera. You might also gather some more props. Having some soft, flexible props, a yoga mat. I like to use a thick blanket or some blankets or towels. Some larger soft props such as pillows. Some stiffer props. I've got yoga blocks and a foam roller, but books and Tupperware also work well. The benefit of doing this practice on YouTube Live is that we've set aside the time to have this shared experience together. Yet without being able to see each other, there's less temptation to look and compare for yourself or others. We will begin with a short movement flow followed by a seated meditation. Tonight we will do 3 yin postures before a final relaxation. During this time, there is no right position or correct alignment of traditional postures because we won't be adding any force and there is no progression goal. For each yin posture, I will suggest several different setups for feeling different lines of fascial tension. I'll begin without any props or minimal props and then add more props and other variations. While I'm demonstrating, I encourage you to use that time to explore different options and to try different setups. Once I'm done demonstrating, I'll return to a seated position to watch the time while you stay in the posture for 2 to 3 minutes. Whatever position you land in, you should feel safe to release all effort and tension, to feel quiet sensations. This is a practice of patience, of stillness, and of subtlety. Let's begin. For our movement flow, we're going to start from a hands and knees position. I'm going to place my mat so that it can be just for my knees and so that my hands and feet will be off of my padding, just for my knees. And from here, I'm going to sink my hips back towards my heels, reach my hands as far forward as they'll go into a variation of child's pose. And then coming up into hands and knees, I'm going to tuck my toes and lift my knees and send my hips as far back as they can go while my knees are off the ground. Lots of strength and flexibility in the legs, reaching through the fingers. And then I'm going to begin to straighten the legs and lift my hips as high towards the ceiling. Your knees might fully straighten or they might stay softly bent. Your heels might come to the floor or stay off. Create a long line from your hips to the ceiling and reaching through your fingers so you feel a long line through your spine and shoulders. Then come forward into a plank. Reach through your fingertips into your knuckles. Reach your spine towards the ceiling, the back of the knees towards the ceiling, the heels behind you, crown of your forehead in front. Before returning to hands and knees. We'll flow through each of those movements with a breath each, sinking the hips back. Exhale deeply. Inhale to hands and knees, tuck the toes. Exhale, send the hips far back. Inhale, lift the hips, long spine, long legs. Exhale into plank. Inhale to drop the knees. Exhale, sitting back. Inhale to come up. Exhale to send the hips back. Inhale, reaching long and tall. Exhale into plank. Inhale to rest the knees. Exhale to rest and reach back. Inhale, hands and knees. Exhale, send the hips back with the knees up. Inhale, reaching long. Exhale into plank. Inhale, resting the knees. One more time through. Exhale, sinking the hips. Inhale. Exhale, lifting the knees, sending the hips back. Inhale, reaching long. Exhale into plank. Inhale, rest the knees. And then take a moment if you want to wiggle the shoulders and the hips, swaying hips side to side. Make circles with the wrists and shoulders. Wave through the spine. Making circles with the wrists, the fingers, shoulders. And then we'll make our way into a comfortable seated position for our meditation. For this meditation, you can absolutely sit in a chair. If there's a chair readily available, you want to find a position that is not distracting physically. So a chair is a great option. Otherwise, you might choose to sit cross-legged or legs out extended in front of you in any variation, or legs folded back. In any of these cases on the floor, sitting propped up, sitting on a blanket, propping up on a pillow or a block. At any varying height, lifting the hips will give your knees, ankles, and hips more room to sit more comfortably. Today I'm going to sit propped up with my legs crossed. But any option, as long as you can feel tall in your posture, is a good place. As you settle in and get ready for this meditation, whatever arises in this practice is okay. As we sit in stillness, many things might come up, either externally in your environment as a distraction, but also internally. It might be in your body, things that you haven't taken the time to notice, or it might be thoughts and feelings that arise. Whatever shows up, allow yourself to observe it, acknowledge it, and then set it aside. Not everything has to be dealt with and immediately responded to, but we also don't need to push it aside as if it was something that was wrong. Whatever shows up is fine. Allow yourself to acknowledge it, and then allow yourself to always just come back to your breath and let that be all that's needed for this next 50 minutes. So as you've gotten yourself comfortable and seated, you can have your palms down, up, or clasped in your lap. Eyes on the floor in a soft, steady gaze, or closed. Allowing yourself this time to re-arrive, to settle in to this time, in this space, and in your body. Allowing yourself to observe without need to judge or respond or analyze the things in your environment, the sensations in your body, and your thoughts and feelings. Now imagine a small white ball of light. You might place it anywhere between the crown of your head and your tailbone. Could be mid-brain, behind your eyes, in your throat, in your chest, in your abdomen, behind the navel, down in your pelvic bowl. Wherever you'd like that white ball of light to settle. On an inhale, imagine the light expanding. On the exhale, the light contracting. With each breath, watching the light expand and contract. Gently lengthening and deepening your breath. And after another breath or two, nod your chin towards your chest. And then opening eyes and reintroducing movement, perhaps bending side to side. Perhaps some twists. Perhaps circling the ankles, wiggling the toes. We'll be getting ready for our first yin posture. So our first yin posture is going to be essentially a seated forward fold. And we're looking for lines of fascial tension, the connective tissue that runs throughout your body, from the soles of your feet, through the backs of your legs, through the hips and the behind your hips, up through the spine area, along the spine, and possibly up to the forehead. You might not feel it evenly everywhere, but we don't want any points of intense tension. We want to feel lines, and the longest line that feels comfortable for you. So without really any props, just a little padding underneath, I would just fold forward, head relaxed, arms relaxed. One option is to simply bend the knees, and I prefer to have my feet held up gently, in this case by my bookshelf, but you don't necessarily, it's not necessary. But I could bend my knees. And then in many cases, it can be helpful to get seated higher. So I might put blocks and you could even go as high as sitting in a chair. So seated, I might have knees straight or bent, whichever feels better. And then having the head hang might feel really wonderful and allow to release a lot of tension in the back of the neck, but it might be too intense. So I could always allow my forehead to be propped. I could prop between my thighs and my belly. And I can certainly vary the width of my legs. I could have my feet all the way together or slightly wider apart. Wherever you land, make sure that you feel comfortable and supported. If the position you put yourself in is too intense to begin, you'll use muscular tension to protect yourself from going too deep. So use enough props that you feel safe to let go of muscular effort so that you can let that fascial network be gently stretched and stressed. And now you'll stay in the position you've landed in, settling in, letting go of any final adjustments and fidgeting. As you stay in this position, sensations will change. There's no need to chase any particular sensation. Whatever arrives, whatever shows up, allow yourself to observe it without any need to respond. There will always be distractions. Whenever and wherever they arise, allow yourself to come back to your breath, come back inside your body. Allow yourself to get lost in the internal inventory, noticing what is there and releasing tension. Gently lengthen and deepen your breath, noticing how an active, deep breath changes the sensations in this position. Feeling your breath be the first active movement. And then from that position, gently rolling up. And you might choose again any movement, transition of your choice, side bends, twists, hugging the knees in, leaning back. You might choose standing. You might choose a downward dog. For our next yin posture, we're going to do a variation on a lunge, and this has many variations, lots of options here. So in the basic position, we have one knee resting on the ground and one leg up. We might choose to have, and before I go further into options, this also has a lot of variations in where you might feel lines of that fascial tension and release. But you're going to feel in the back leg somewhere in the front of the body, and in the front leg somewhere in the back, from the back of the ankle to the back of the thigh and the glute area. So both legs in different positions, in different places. So in this lunge position, I might choose to stay very upright with my posture and simply adjust where my legs are and stay upright with my posture. I might stay with my legs in their same 90 to 90 degree angle and lean forward with my torso. I might choose different positions for the front leg so I can really stretch the front leg out into a splits-like position, or I might choose to keep the leg, I'm sorry, pigeon, but I might choose to keep the front leg very tightly bent and feel more emphasis on the ankle of the front leg and the hip of the front leg. In any variation, again, just long lines of fascial tension for fascial release in both legs, and then prop yourself so that you might feel more supported and more comfortable. So I might choose to prop up underneath this front leg so that my hips feel more supported. I might choose to put myself up against something and lean up against it so that I don't feel like I'm going to tilt over front to back. And you might choose, as you lean forward, to prop up on the forearms or the forehead. Lots of options here. So wherever you land, feel supported enough that you can let go of most tension. In the lunge, there will still need to be something so that you don't fall totally over, but you do want to feel fairly comfortable so that there's no need to grip and hold. It's not a strengthening lunge. So settling in, making any final adjustments. And then allow your eyes to close. Let go of any tension in the jaw, the forehead, fingers, toes. Come into your breath. As you stay here, allowing gravity to help sink you in, letting go of any unnecessary holding, gripping in your thighs, in your pelvis, in your abdomen. Gently lengthen and deepen your breath. You might use these breaths to sink in a little deeper, savor where you have landed. Or you might use these breaths to help you gently lift up and out. And when you're ready, taking any transition that feels good for you. Again, side bends or twists. You might choose to simply come to a seated position in a neutral place, or you might choose more active counter pose. And when you are ready, no rush, when you are ready, you'll set up your other side. Feel free to turn around. If you observe something else you want to lean up against. This side is entirely different. It might need something entirely different. No need to force it to do something else. So just a quick review of your options. And as you continue to experiment, you might have a very upright torso. You might lean forward. You might kick that front leg out. I could even put it on a blanket to let that front leg really kick out. Or you might have that front leg be very compact. And then propping underneath the hips or front leg, propping underneath the arms or the forehead. I've seen people come up with all different ways. If you have a large yoga ball, that can be a handy prop, a chair. And then as you settle in, letting go of fidgeting and fussing. Letting go of trying, of effort. Can you trust yourself to let go and know that you will still hold together? With each breath scanning, where else is there tension chronically held? Where else has tension crept back in? With each breath, allowing yourself to let it go. Gently lengthening and deepening your breath. Either savoring where you've landed or gently coming out, reintroducing movement. Any movement of your choice. For our last yin posture, we're going to be in a reclined position, starting on your back with your knees bent and your feet on the floor. We're going to do, well, again, several options. We're going to do a twist, and depending on your variation that you choose, we're going to feel a line of fascial tension, either primarily in the torso or primarily in the hips and legs. But generally we're going to be thinking in this area and expanding from there. So if I lie on my back and have both knees drop to my left, one option, right? I might also choose to cross my right ankle over my left knee, and again, dropping over to the left. And I might choose to have that bottom leg tightly bent, in which I feel more in the thighs and hips, or I might choose to bring my knees closer to my chest and tighten the twist so it's knee over knee, right knee over left, twisting to my left. And now it's more through the torso. With any of these options, you might choose the head position and an arm position that might extend the torso twist from the right ribs up into the right arm. And then again, propping. So my right arm is hovering off the ground, which doesn't feel very supported, so I might prop it with a pillow, or I might prop underneath my knees or my ankles or a hip or my head. Making your adjustments. Finding a comfortable place. A twist that hits in just the right spot for you. Allowing yourself to feel fully supported by the floor. Allowing your muscles to be soft. Allowing them to hang off of your bones. Letting your mind take comfort in your breath. Gently lengthening and deepening your breath. Gently coming out of the twist. And then taking any movement or stillness that calls to you, you might choose to simply lie in a neutral place and observe the effects. You might choose an active counter pose. You might choose to lift the hips and bridge up high. Or you might choose to curl up into a ball or extend the legs up towards the ceiling. And then beginning our other side. Again, you might just choose feet flat on the floor, knees bent, and dropping the knees to the right. You might choose crossing left ankle over right knee, and again dropping to the right. And in this position, I might choose to bring my bottom leg more in line with my posture, or bringing that foot closer to my hips. Or I might choose to bring my knee closer to my chest. And in any of those options, I could leave an open cross with my legs, or I might choose a tighter cross. Knee over knee, left knee over right. And then I might choose different options for my left arm, the position of my head. Wherever you land, allow yourself to feel at ease. Letting your breath be enough. Gently lengthening and deepening your breath. Gently coming out of the twist. Taking any movement or stillness that is calling to you. And then getting yourself in a position for our relaxation. We're going to just lie on the floor, and you want this to be a comfortable position. So making sure you have padding under your head. You could roll something underneath your neck. It might feel comfortable to prop something underneath your knees. Perhaps covering your eyes. Allowing yourself to feel completely comfortable, completely at ease. No lines of stress or stretch. Now imagine a small white ball of light, and wherever it touches or passes through, it spreads a feeling of peace, of comfort. Imagine that small white ball of light floating above your head. Watch as it sinks into your midbrain, descends into your throat, drops into your chest. This small white ball of light spreading peace and comfort travels to your right shoulder, right elbow, wrist, thumb, first finger, second, third, fourth. Travels through the palm of your hand into your wrist, elbow, shoulder, chest, left shoulder, left elbow, left wrist, thumb, first finger, second, third, fourth. Travels through the palm of your hand into your wrist, elbow, shoulder, chest. Traveling down behind your navel, into your pelvis and your tailbone, over to your right hip, right knee, ankle, big toe, second toe, third, fourth, fifth, through the sole of your foot into your ankle, knee, hip, tailbone, sliding to your left hip, left knee, ankle, big toe, second toe, third, fourth, fifth, sliding through the sole of your foot into your ankle, knee, hip, tailbone, small white ball of light traveling up from your pelvis, behind your navel, along your spine, through your abdomen, into your chest, throat, and it settles in your midbrain with your body at peace. Let your mind find ease in following your breath. Gently lengthening and deepening your breath. Reintroduce movement to feet, hands, stretching out long and big. And then bring your palms together and rub your palms together. Place your palms over your eyes. Then let your fingers massage your scalp, or your brow, your temples, your ears, your jaw, perhaps your sinuses, perhaps behind your neck. And then curl into a ball. Roll to your side. Use your arm to help you sit up. And we'll conclude with 3 breaths together, inhaling through the nose and exhaling audibly out the mouth. Together, in through the nose. In through the nose. One more. Thank you for joining me. It was wonderful to share this experience with 4 of you tonight. You are welcome to share your experience or ask any questions or give me feedback. You can do so in the chat of this live stream. You can also email me, Kym, Kym, at zested.net. Please visit our website to join our mailing list to stay up to date, and also follow us on Instagram or Facebook. It's a great way to get any news as we were not live last week. And then if you value this service, we'd welcome your support. You can do so either by donating to paypal.me/zested. It's right there on the screen. And you can also share this with your friends and family, anyone who you think might also appreciate this. Thank you. Have a peaceful night.